something in the Christian life that's worthy of giving ourselves to? That's worthy of risking it all? I have to think of the young missionaries that we support, the Kirkendalls, who are in North Africa. Now there are 5 of them. All 3 of the kids were born in Tunisia, in Tunisian hospitals with Muslim doctors. Didn't come back to the States to do that. This was not an easy thing for Kylan Kirkendall. Kylan's dad was a teacher and then the principal of a school in Thornton, Oklahoma. He's from a farm family, and Kylan's granddad started with nothing in southeastern Colorado, down in the driest of the dry part. He started with just a little land, and he paid that off, and then he bought a little bit more. By the time he retired, he was sitting on, 5 or 6 square miles of that farmland. Through hard times and good, he built it up carefully. This is how Glenn, Kylan's dad, was raised. And he took it on himself to do the same thing. He carefully built his life step by step by step. And when Kylan came along, about junior high, he began to think about going into ministry, youth work or something like that. It was explained to him very clearly that he was going to college and studying to be a teacher, which he did. Became a science teacher, went back to my high school, VanDeburgh High School. And for 2 years, he was the ace of a science teacher. He taught some physics courses and several things like that. He's just that kind of guy with all of this drive. Right in the middle of that, after 2 years, he quit it. After his second year was complete, he quit and went to work for a missionary agency recruiting people to come and be missionaries for short-term trips. And from that, he began to work as an intern in South America, and from that, he gathered up a team and started to work in Tunisia. He gave up all of that he accomplished. He gave up his father's expectations, and it wasn't very pretty. And he went to do the work because he saw something that was valuable to him enough to give it all, even if it cost him their lives. And it could have. When the Arab Spring started, it was in Tunisia and Tunis where the Kirkendalls lived. They were right smack in the middle of it. That's the cost we're talking about for following Christ. The willingness to risk, because we see a value there that's worth giving ourselves for. It's not going to be popular always with people around you, with your family. When you start giving yourself to Christ and spending time doing the things that He asks you to do, you no longer have all the time for social events. If there's things at school that require energy, you're not always going to have time for that. People will have expectations of you, and you won't fulfill them, and you'll take some heat for it. Sometimes even from your family. See, that's what it's about. Something worth our life's effort, our life's energy, and the power that God gives. Here's the deal. We live in a world that is chock full of promises. We see it on the news. We hear it from people. Go play the Powerball lottery. It's $400 million this time. It's going to make your life wonderful. Some of the other things. Richardson's home. Affordable luxury. Go hawk your life to get that bigger and better house, whether you can afford it or not. Hemispheres. World of fine furnishings. Now I'm picking on these people, but latent in what they're saying, there's this promise that, well, if you just get this, your life is going to be great. But you know something? It's just stuff. All of it is stuff. And it gets old. You get tired of it. Maybe it's just a big truck, you know, the big manly truck with the tool sides, you got it built right into the sides. Yeah. Every time I see those, I'm going, yeah, I like that. Place for tools. But then I'd have to go get the tools to put in it. See? One thing leads to another. What's worthy to give ourselves for? What is it worthy that we could sacrifice ourselves for? You see, all these things that we advertise about, that we talk about, that we see in the media, it's all about me. What I can get, what I can have, what I can do, where I can be. And you know something? I get real tired of me. It turns out I'm not that great a guy. And no matter what I have, I'm still me. Isn't there something more important than that? And the answer is yes, there is. Yes, there is. There's a God out there. He has a kingdom, and He's doing things in that kingdom, and He's offering us a place as part of that team that's going out to change the world. Jesus said, Matthew 16, 24 and 5, we read it earlier. Then Jesus said to His disciples, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it, find their life. You see, it's counterintuitive to us because we're all about getting and having, possessing, controlling. And Jesus said, here's the key. You're going to give yourself for me. Do it your way, to your purpose. And be a part of the power of my love. Be part of changing the world that's beyond your strength. Because you give yourself to me. God made you to be a player. Not a bystander. Not a spectator from the side. He made you to be a player in the world. Because there are people that you know, that you connect with, that I would never, ever be able to reach. They'd look at me and think I was from Mars. But you know them, they know you, they'll hear from you what I cannot say. There's a purpose for each one. There's a place for each one. But we have to be willing to sell out to it. We have to be willing to sell out to it. It's like playing sports of any kind. We had played a little volleyball when I was in junior high school. Garrett was a very small school. We played basketball. That was our sport. We ran some track. Well, other people ran track. I kind of huffed track. But we like to play volleyball. And I found out that in order to do really well, you have to be willing to drop on that hard floor with your knees and get down low and dig that ball out when it's coming in. If you're not willing to sacrifice for it, you're not going to be any good at it. You're not going to accomplish anything. And the sacrifice we make for sports is a small thing compared to the sacrifice we're called on to make for Christ. These things of this life are passing. But God's called for our spirit to give to Him. And through Him, change the world. What is it we're hoping to see? Are we hoping to be the one who rides the bicycle and then we'll be free? Or has this or that? Or do we want to ride? Do we want to ride in company with Jesus Christ? The salvation, the rescue of the world that needs us desperately. You see, there's things that are needing to be done. And God needs people that will do them. And that's us. That's to be the church. As He's called on me, He calls on you. Will you take the risk? Will you be willing to give yourself to His purpose? By His power will become the world. Our invitation in this 342, we're going to sing just as I am. And so when we come, we can't come any other way. We can't fix ourselves. We can't change ourselves. We can't beat ourselves up and make ourselves look good. We come as we are. He's going to use that to do things that nobody else can do. If we'll give ourselves, if we recognize that value, if we give our hearts to it, make the sacrifice, it'll work. Let's stand as we sing together, and if you feel the Lord calling, respond to His call today. Here is Let's stand as we